Welcome, Muscatine, to After Work Gaming Light, where we talk about games during the only time you should, which is after work. Typically, I'd be joined with Mike Ray. However, this is the light version, so you will have to give us $4.99 to unlock these new characters we have. I'm kidding. That's terrible. That would never work in real life, but it works in video games. So here we are today again with Mike Ray.
How's it going, guys? We are joined here today. We got a great show for you indeed. Our main topic today is going to be obviously DLC and microtransactions, the dreaded microtransactions, that is. Before we do that, I just want to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Of course, we are live right now on the Public Access YouTube channel. You can join us on Thursdays on Public Access Channel 9, that's MPW, at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. And of course, this video replay will be available on the YouTube channel as well as on my Chit Chat Gaming YouTube channel, so make sure you guys check that out. So with that out of the way here, before we get into the topic and introduce our guest, I just want to go over a couple things. It's a great week for gaming. So a lot of games released. I'm not going to go over all of them, obviously, and we're not going to really talk about them. Just want to throw them out there. Some big games released, and for the Switch alone, they have quite a few. LA Noire, which isn't really a new game, but it's a port. Rime, Rocket League, which I picked up and been playing a lot of, and love that game, first of all, so I'm really enjoying it on the go and in portable mode. And of course, Skyrim is available this Friday as well, too, for the Switch. For the 3DS, we got Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, which are two new games as well, too, from the Sun and Moon series. And for PS4 and Xbox One, we got Sims 4, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and this Friday, one that I'm looking forward to, even though it's getting trashed right now, and that is Battlefront 2. I'm really looking forward to that game, which draws us to today's topic, which is going to be DLC and microtransactions. But before we do that, Jimmy wants to go ahead and introduce our two lovely guests we have with us today.
Actually, yeah, right off to the side here, we have Kyle, and Kyle joining us from the Tarty Chat Society today to help us mull over the big, stinking topic of microtransactions and DLC.
Boy. All this hubbub.
I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah, we were excited just thinking about this.
We talked about it all day. But I want you guys to go ahead and get what you need to get out of the way here before we get things started.
We work for GameStop, and our opinions do not have anything to do with the company, so we want to get that out of the way. And thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Our
I
opinion-
wasn't here the first time, so.
Yeah, you were here in spirit. But yes, it's been a while since we had you guys here, and I always enjoyed your guys' company. Very, very knowledgeable as far as gaming goes, and obviously you guys can relate to this whole entire DLC transaction things. I'm sure you get it quite a bit. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it here. Right off the bat, Kyle, we'll start with you here.
Sure.
I just want to know what your thoughts are on the whole deal. A good explanation of one, or example,
Okay.
and a bad example of one.
Ooh.
We'll kind of go around the table and we'll discuss
Spin
them,
a wheel, like.
Well, I mean, microtransactions, ultimately, if you don't pay for them, you don't have to. But I think we're kind of going toward the companies that make the good things behind the paywall and therefore give other players an advantage rather than just fun things. Mm-hmm. So my good one would probably be, kind of put me on the spot now. Any DLC like The Witcher, here, we got right here, thanks Kyle, where it's just extra story, it's extra fun, it doesn't require anything to do the original game, it gives you extra trophies to do at the end. Not expensive. I mean, they had like 16 free DLCs like after the first game came out, and these were like $10, and it added 40, 50 hours each one.
Game of the Year.
Yeah.
DLC. Never hear of that. Like, that's the first I've ever even considered a DLC to be Game of the Year.
So that DLC is fine. It's an option. If you really enjoyed the game, you get to go back, play more. Another one that they just released was Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, yeah. Super fun game. One of my personal Game of the Years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's fun, it's extra. They never intended to do it, just how popular it was, they decided to do it. A bad one, and I'm gonna go with like a lot of like the free-to-play MMOs and stuff like that. You got Neverwinter, that they have loot boxes that you have to buy. They give them to you for free in the game, but then you have to go and buy the keys to even unlock the loot.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is really good loot usually, but it's all random too. It's hit or miss. Stuff like that. DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online, they locked full content. Like once you got to like level 6, you couldn't do any of the quests to level higher until you paid to unlock the quests to get higher level.
Amazing what they come up with.
Exactly. So those are mine, personally. I mean, there's tons more.
Oh, I'm sure there is, and
obviously.
we'll get to those, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
what about you, Kyle?
Good examples of DLC. I would say Dark Souls. Every single one of them had amazing DLC, and they weren't very expensive. I happen to have the European Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. That was expensive because I had to import it, but I didn't need to buy that. I could just buy it online. It added multiple hours more content. It gave you a lot more spells and weapons. It was totally worth the like $15 I spent on it, and then I bought it again. Bad. Geez, you have Destiny over there.
Where? No.
Oh man, you basically had to spend $200 in that game to get $60 worth of content,
Yeah, which they later released as the collection.
which was disgusting. The people, like the early adopters, whatever, they spent like I probably played 50 days worth on one character, probably more than that. But if you bought it early, you spent the $60, you spent the $35 on the 2 expansion pass things, and then the Taken King came out, which was fine, but it included all the DLC. So the people who spent the $90 originally got kind of screwed over
Absolutely.
for the new people that bought it. And then they did the same thing for the Taken King collection, which was whatever, not Taken King, but the
whole collection.
The whole collection.
It was the
Rise Iron.
Yeah, the Iron.
Yeah,
Rise
so
of Iron,
it was
that's
just
what
like you get screwed over, and it's almost infuriating that you have to spend so much money if you really enjoy the game, like I did. The game has one of the best like first-person shooter controls I've ever played. It's amazing.
Yeah, the gunplay is great.
There's just no content without spending a bunch of money,
Yeah,
and then
right.
it's still not very much content. So that would be my examples.
Perfect. Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best examples I can think of has already been mentioned, Overwatch. I mean, that's a perfect example because everything that you can get through those loot boxes that you buy and can spend money on, that's stuff that other players can get just by playing.
Yeah.
As long as you spend the time. And what's great about it is it's consistent. You earn those loot boxes at a consistent pace. There's
Right.
no like special events where you're going to get like 10 or something and then it's going to slow down.
Right.
You're going to have those events where you can get themed loot boxes, but it's all still consistently the same experience. You're going to play usually the same amount of games and get your loot boxes.
You get your currency for playing games,
Yeah.
leveling up, and all that stuff, and you can buy those skins. Like that's all they are. They're
Yeah,
skins.
exactly. They're just skins, and I think that's
nothing that adds to the game
you
because
get-
of that system.
You get the characters right off the. That's probably one of the best things about Overwatch is you don't have to wait to unlock the champions or
Right.
heroes. You get them because you bought the game, and not a lot of games you see very often.
Go Blizzard.
Yeah, you have some games that take more of a predatory stance at DLC and microtransactions where they put customers kind of in a corner where it's like, hey, you can play the game if you want, but it's going to take you a really long time to get to that. Up until then, those loot boxes, like you mentioned, they're useless. Like you don't need them.
Right.
But up until then, when it comes to that point, you almost do kind of need them to get through that grind because you need the orcs from it because they're high level or whatever.
Yeah.
And that just becomes an issue. Like I said, it feels like it's almost a predatory stance where they're just almost strong-arming you into getting the DLC just to enjoy the game you want to enjoy.
Right.
Well, that's just like that article they did where they had that algorithm where they would pair people that paid for stuff with people that.
And thankfully, because I know what you're talking about, that was Activision wanted to do that. It was a matchmaking system that they were working on.
Yeah,
that
they
would
had
pit-
patented, but they didn't actually put it into effect. But yeah.
Yeah, and it would pit you against players who had bought gear that was better than yours, just so you could see it and be like, "Wow, man, that's pretty sweet. I should get that." And that's not right. You shouldn't be people should want to get those stuff out of their own accord. Like you probably got the Witcher DLC because you wanted to experience that story.
Absolutely.
And I've seen it. That's like a whole
physical
other
stuff,
game.
like,
That's
I love collecting.
Yeah,
So of course I had to buy the physical edition, which was more money, but it came with Gwent decks, which is a huge card game in the series. If you've never played The Witcher, it's really addicting. But CD Projekt Red does it right.
That's a perfect example. Yeah, when you have DLC that your players want to buy, not to get advantages, but to experience more of the game, more of the story. That's what I think is a perfect example of good DLC. As far as microtransactions go, I think those are like on a case-by-case basis almost.
Yeah.
Not every microtransaction is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, you've already talked about Destiny. I'll go with my good, which I think is Titanfall 2. They released a game. There is microtransactions, but again, it's like Overwatch cosmetic. You can add stuff to your Titan, you can add stuff to your pilot, whatever. But everything's free. All the DLC has been free this year. They have not made you pay a cent for a DLC, and they've added quite a bit to it to make it more of a full game. I mean, it was already a full game to begin with. The story mode was amazing. I loved it. I don't know if you guys played it, but
I liked it. My 10 cents here is that it was. I feel like I'm grumping when I complain about the length of.
Grump.
I grump when the length of campaigns feel almost too short for me. Like with The Witcher and stuff, and I'm used to
Hundreds
Halo and
of
stuff.
hours,
These were long campaigns. I could get lost in Skyrim or Oblivion, not to talk about their main story because that was like a 3 or 4 quest.
Yeah.
But all the extra stuff you could do, you could just get lost in those worlds and spend. I think Skyrim on one character you could spend up to like 360 hours doing everything
Easily.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But to stick up for the game, and not to argue with, to stick up for the game, that this and like Call of Duty, Call of Duty are geared more towards multiplayer. I mean, that's different. Witcher is there? I've played The Witcher a little bit. Unfortunately, I haven't played a whole lot. Is there a multiplayer to
There
that?
is not, but you should play it.
Okay, and I will. Yes, I have played. I did play. I rented it fan video before, and I said I rented it and I liked it. I just unfortunately
Definitely not a renting game. You gotta.
Especially now, I think I saw it for like, I think Walmart had it for like $15, something like that.
You can get the Game of the Year edition for like $35.
Yeah.
It comes with everything.
I will pick that up. But in defense, go back to that, in defense of this, being multiplayer, yes, the campaign's 4 to 6 hours long, but you are paying for the multiplayer. Which
Right. And at least they actually added one this time. Originally they didn't.
Yeah, personally.
$60 for a multiplayer only game. That's a little.
That had to be online all the time.
Yeah, like that's kind of bogus. But I mean, at least they tried this time. It's a great game. I'm kind of upset that they're like completely bought out now.
Yeah, but it was.
And it's almost criminal that game didn't sell very well.
I know it is.
I honestly want to say it chalked up to when it was released because didn't it come out next to a couple other games?
Came out like with the same time as like Call of Duty and everything else came out like in a
and
row.
with all the bad stigma that was surrounding the first Titanfall, I was a little sketchy to go into the second one. But even though I complained about the length of the campaign, I will say the campaign was impactful still. I loved playing through it. It was a very cinematic and just beautiful campaign with sweet mechanics like the time travel mechanic.
It made you fall in love with your
with a
Titan.
robot, with a giant toaster with guns, But I felt sad, for that
I did
robot.
too.
Exactly.
And my bad example, which I'm still mad about this, is Mortal Kombat X. I'll tell you why. I spent $90. Sorry, probably my fault. Spent $99 for this game with the first combat pack.
Yep.
Okay, I bought all that, and then they released more after that, which I had to pay additional $20 for.
Yep.
And then a year later, they released Mortal Kombat XL for $60. It had all the combat packs. So you're telling me I just dropped over, $150 easily, and you're going to release a whole entire series of all the packs together for $20 or $60 for the next year?
And I realize people argue, well, it's a year later, so you got it in advance, so that's what you paid for. But it's still kind of it's a big.
It is. It's a lot to somebody.
Yeah, you can't help but feel kind of cheated.
And I don't have to have the characters. Like I understand. Like I get a base characters, which really quick, Street Fighter, you don't get Guile in the original. You have to pay for them. But anyways, Guile. It's Guile. Guile is in Street Fighter.
It's his theme, man.
Guile, Ryu, and Ken, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, with that being said, with Mortal Kombat, it was just like, you don't have to buy those characters. They're there if you want them.
Right.
But still, I felt kind of cheated out.
You want to play as the characters though, like. It almost feels as if now they keep DLC, like they just cut parts out of the game just to release it later for paid DLC.
Exactly.
And that's what gets.
Right.
Yeah, that's the biggest point about the bad DLC is the fact that it's there, you just can't access it until
Without
you pay
paying
for it.
Yeah. Capcom's really bad about that. EA and Activision are really bad about that.
I think though maybe the generations us four, we came from gaming. We grew up with Super Nintendos, Nintendo stuff.
Put
like
a game
that.
in and it works.
Nintendo 64. You buy your game, you put it in, you play the game, and you wait until the second game comes out to get anything more. I think that kind of that's what we lived with so long. That kind of jaded us. So now we get to these games where companies are trying to pump in as much as they can into the $60 price tag, and they have to cut. I don't like it, honestly. I hate that. Destiny 1's a perfect example. I got into it right off the bat, and it felt like half a game.
Yeah.
There were complete areas that were void of any content because it was DLC that wasn't released yet, but you could see it.
You could glitch through
go
the wall.
to it. Yeah,
you
that's
could see
terrible.
that the Dark Below DLC was in the game. It just wasn't in the game. You had to pay for it.
And so when I started playing that, and I didn't get into it because there just wasn't enough for me to latch onto. Yeah, like a year or so later, they came out with the Rise of Iron collection.
Right.
$60. You bought that. Felt like what Destiny 1 should have been. That was the full collection. You get to the Taken King, which was amazing.
It was great.
I loved that section in Destiny 2. That actually felt like we're hitting no story, and then bam, we're playing Dead Space. it feels almost kind of like a horror game, and that was great for all 10 seconds it lasted, because it felt big and epic and spacey.
Yeah.
And then that kind of died. But they released the $60 collection, and I felt bad for the players like you who just got really into it when it first came out.
$200 on the game, and
that you can't help but feel cheated out of that.
Yeah.
I bought this for $15.
Hey.
I didn't have to. Yeah, $15.
There you go.
So I mean, and that was new. So it's like, wow. Now I didn't have to worry about
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
I
you
feel
just
sorry, I'm
you feel
sorry.
cheated.
Yeah, if you can get Destiny or Destiny 2 for like $10, get some friends to throw in on it too, Mike.
Yeah. He's got to try and get me to play it on PC.
Yeah,
It's
trying
like,
to
I
get him.
can't. I have an Xbox One. I'm like, I can't drop it, and I actually got a couple of games on
I
PS4
can tell
that
you, it feels a lot better on PC.
It sure does.
Because I got Doom on PS4.
Because our
and then-
console games quit screwing us over.
Yeah. Oh
Right,
man.
right. And then also, I mean, I know we kind of ignored it, but Nintendo.
Because none of it felt jammed down my throat like most DLC
Right.
does. They tell you basically, this is all these awesome features you have to have. With Breath of the Wild, it's just like, hey man, there's some stuff coming out. One of them is a story expansion. You've got the trials, Sword of or the trials.
Wasn't it like
whatever
100
those were.
floors or something like
Yeah,
that?
the Master Trial, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Trials, yeah.
That alone, but that by itself was worth $20.
Exactly.
Right.
Like that just by itself, because that added hours upon hours of gameplay. Because everyone loved that the little section for the shrine where you had to stay on the island and stuff, and it was like Survivor. That was cool. People wanted more of that. They got it.
Yeah.
And none of it felt forced. It was great. I love how Nintendo handles their microtransactions.
With the
part.
exception of amiibos.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
that.
okay,
I was
now
just gonna
those-
get into that.
Yes,
That
that
Amiibos,
irks
I
me.
was
Beat me into it.
So
100% all for amiibos when they first announced them,
Yeah.
and then they came out
Yeah.
and they didn't deliver.
Yeah, they weren't.
They were pretty statues, but they didn't do anything.
Oh, they look amazing.
They're great to collect. But
Yeah.
for Smash Brothers, I got those. I was like, all right, man, this is gonna be cool. I can bring certain characters in the game or do something different. And then they're like, okay, all you can do is level up your. Okay, well,
Yeah,
what fun is
level it up,
my
and then it's
freaking
like your computer
PC
fighter. and it
generated.
plays
Yeah,
for you.
I don't care. I'm not gonna take them on.
And
I don't
now they've
open mine,
turned-
so that's kind of my issue. Is it comes with DLC, and I can't use it because I pay $15 for it, and I can't use it.
Yeah.
That's what.
And now they've turned into just costume creators. You put them on your
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
you have a costume now. Thanks.
Right, $15, thank you. Yeah, they are, but let's be real. We pay for them. I know you're a collector too.
Yeah.
I think you do too a little bit.
I did, and I'm slowly getting rid of them. I just
Right.
one room and two. I just was disappointed with them.
Right.
So
It takes a lot of space.
And let's be
Yeah.
real. We get it for what it looks like, right?
Yeah, it's
You
pretty.
don't open yours.
It's
on
great.
Can you? I open on mine. You don't even open.
I don't even open them.
See, so
I
he's not
keep
even
them
using
in
it for-
packaging, like,
Yeah, that's like-
and they look great, but I don't have any room.
See, I will say, in the defense of amiibos, I do like that. They do serve like a dual purpose because you've got them for their in-game items, all that junk, but also they're a cool collector's toy.
Yeah.
All things considered, they're
They're
a
a
pretty
toy.
sweet little toy. Like I have a Mewtwo one. I don't
Action
collect
figure. It's not.
action figure. Like
All toys, not dolls either.
not dolls. Doesn't matter if it's standing next to my Barbie. It doesn't matter.
And another thing too is like let's speaking of amiibo, let's talk about loot boxes. We kind of did a little bit. Every game's got loot boxes and
Everything,
Battlefield.
man, everything has it. It's
Freaking
terrible.
WWE 2K18 has loot boxes.
They
Why
have
do I
loot
need a loot
boxes.
box?
Assassin's Creed has loot
Yeah,
boxes.
that,
Like,
oh,
Dude,
it's
Dark
getting
Souls
crazy.
has loot boxes. I'm done.
Yeah, it's really getting too great. Like you've got Star Wars Battlefront. They've got loot boxes.
I was
Terribly.
shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, well, yeah. When I got the beta and they had like little,
what's
you
this?
get a trooper crate and a starship crate. I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
don't want any of it.
want
It's
a
just
loot
be
box.
cosmetics. They should not lock it behind a loot box.
Absolutely,
That's terrible.
And see, Overwatch did it right, like we mentioned already.
they did it first though.
You earn them, and
Like,
they're
they-
easy to earn,
well, as
a
far as I know,
currency.
like-
And then they just drop skins and I mean, it's not like you have to have it. but
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for
I mean,
it.
it's like League of Legends and Dota 2. They have their loot boxes. You have to pay keys to open them for the most part, but it doesn't give you an advantage in the game whatsoever. It's just
Right.
a pretty looking costume.
See, and like Mass Effect 3 did loot boxes way before Overwatch even came out. And I find that was okay. Like, yeah, they were characters and things you couldn't access without getting them, but it was a co-op game. So it was just fun to play with
Yeah, it's
other
not like you
people.
actually needed them.
It's
but
not like it's
still
The Last
sketchy.
of Us, where you bought all the best guns
Yeah.
and then
Here's
dominated
the shotgun.
matches.
Here's the bolt rifle, and it's just like, okay, so I can either spend $5 or just unlock them throughout the game, which that's what we did, just because I was good enough at the game where it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if you're not very good at the game or you want everything fast, you can just pay for it. And Battlefield is guilty of that as well.
That's where some of us that we were talking about earlier is like, I work, you guys work, full time. I'm a full time father and such, and you are too as well. So I mean, it's like one of those things like we don't have time to sit there and play games as much as we want to. So sometimes buying your way through a game is easier. I know it's not the right thing to do.
And I've done it. I mean,
and like we said earlier, ultimately it's your money. Do what you want with it.
Sure.
But when it comes to a competitive standpoint, you can't really justify letting people that pay for stuff versus people that don't. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Warframe is a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
That I want to say that's one of the best examples of microtransactions and stuff like that is because they do have a premium currency you can buy. But what's great is anything that can be obtained with that premium currency can be obtained. Players getting that premium currency. That's right. That's perfect. I think that does it well.
Well, Warcraft's kind of doing that now too.
Well, yeah, now that they took the whole Eve thing where you can pay or you can play and play to pay basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like 200,000 gold and you get a month of WoW.
I remember when that number was down to like 30K.
I
and
remember
when I
that
logged onto
too.
my characters, I'm like 36K. I'm getting a month of WoW.
Right.
Check out the
like-
rates. It's like 200K.
Well, because they changed it, now you can actually buy those tokens and get real life Blizzard currency. So you could buy Destiny 2 with WoW gold if you wanted to.
That's great.
Or any Blizzard / Activision style battle.
I never thought about it, but I guess I could power my Heroes of the Storm addiction with WoW play.
You could.
Power an addiction with another addiction.
There you
I like that.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I feel that a lot of games take advantage of gamers like us because they know
do.
we're gonna buy them. My son,
They love collectors.
my son plays Call of Duty, of course, because he's a child. But that's bad. I play it too.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
We're all children.
I had to
The
take a
PEGI
shot.
system is better than the ESRB. I'm going to say that right now.
Oh, now it's Imperial versus Mexican.
So he plays that game, and there's times he's begging me for Crypt coin money. Hey guys, it's like,
Need some
almost like a
Robux?
fiend.
I need shark cards
some
for
of those
Grand
Crypt
Theft
coins.
Auto.
Oh,
'Cause I'm 7 and I need to play Grand Theft Auto for
I can't
some
tell you
reason.
how many kids I've seen come in to buy shark cards at the store.
Terrible.
I bet.
How many kids buy Robux? That's what I want to know.
Once
I
or
don't-
twice a
My
week.
son-
I
Yeah,
see a few.
not very often.
So like the only kid in town is.
My son buys $20 Roblox cards to get just update his character and stuff. But then again, that's nothing wrong. That's like Sims and stuff too. But
Yeah, it's your money. He can spend
Yeah.
it how he wants.
it's my money. Yeah, you can spend all I want. So yeah, but as far as like the DLC and stuff, that's where like I said I think by far the biggest offender, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys had different one. It was Destiny. I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, there might be more out there, but that's.
I think that's the one that hurt the most.
Yeah, that's what hurt. That's the proper word for it.
Yeah.
It hurt me the
Yeah,
most for
'cause
sure.
you were promised this great world that like they said it was going to have a working lifetime. It was a working lifetime world of 10 years. They were going to build on that and have economies and player systems that sounded just way too good to be true. And this was all this was all coming from Bungie, who had never let us down before.
They never have.
They had such a great track record, and then Destiny happened.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Molyneux kind of got me used to like not expecting what they promise with the Fable series, but yeah, with Destiny, yeah, they did.
Rip.
Everyone became the same character.
Yep.
The 3 character classes had no different except for their super. It's just and their jump. But yeah, it's just
the feline customization in Monster Hunter World has more customization than
Yeah.
all 3 characters.
I think I was talking to
combined.
somebody, Final Fantasy 14,
Awful.
which is an MMO. Like the character customization on that is ridiculous. You
Yeah,
can have
pretty
scars,
intricate.
you can do all kinds of stuff, and that game is, yeah, you have to play a lot to progress, but at least you get to play your character, do what you want with your character.
Yeah, and I'll talk up Destiny 2 quite a bit, but one huge thing where it falls short is just the jump between 1 and 2. It felt like an expansion or a patch.
That's all it is.
Because you have the same the base classes, the same 3 base races. I'm pretty sure the customization options are exactly the same.
They are
from
the exact
first game.
same.
And they added a subclass to each one, maybe tweaked the other subclasses, but they didn't. No new enemies really.
Yeah,
like
nope,
the
at all.
Cabal,
Zero
the
enemies.
Hive, they
Maybe
all
the
kind of
dog.
They brought
all look
back
the
they brought
same.
back the Taken, which was technically a new enemy, but it's basically just a recolor.
Like
Yeah.
the Hive looks. I will say some of the Hive units they actually look kind of cleaned up. They look pretty good. I want the main enemy in this one, Gaul or whatever. He doesn't feel like a big bad. When you faced Oryx and stuff,
Yeah.
and then you go to this Cabal dude who just looks like he has a,
I can blow up the Traveler, which we still don't know what it is.
yeah, this big white orb. I don't know what it is. But, and then now we have spooky black pyramids coming after us. So we don't know what to do.
I just felt they tried too hard. Like, it's funny that we say Destiny 1 had no story. I think Destiny 2 tried too hard with the story and cutscenes,
yeah.
but then didn't deliver content as you were playing.
Right, and I mean the main character, your biggest enemy, the way they designed him, he was by design not interesting. He's this big, intimidating guy. Half his face is covered with a mask. The other half looks like a naked mole rat. And it's just hard to find him intimidating when all of his character, all of his emotion and stuff comes through eyebrow raises and, louder muffling. I can't get.
Well, that and he was a giant child. I deserve this. I want it.
And then at the end, he's like, yeah, right. I'm gonna march up there and take it.
He even says, like, one of his last lines is, "You do see me." Like, hey, thank you, Dad. You acknowledged me. Like, what?
Yeah, and then he gets Kamehameha.
Nice.
And then Spooky Black Pyramids, and then but. Yeah, at least I'm looking forward to the.
Can we talk about good games, please?
Yeah, well, as soon as he said Broken Promises, the first thing I thought about was No Man's Sky.
Oh,
we're not talking about No Man's Sky.
We don't have time.
Yeah,
we don't have time for that
I
one.
can't swear because we're live.
I think we're hitting a running
No Man's
Sky. Yeah,
I spent $60 in that
We'll
game.
have another episode of just No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I can get Sean Murray's cell phone, call him up and have an interview. Can two players meet each other on the planet?
They can now.
Yeah, well, about 3 months later, after nobody's heard from him.
Talk about too little, too late.
Yeah,
that's like, and like with Street Fighter, I was just saying that I picked that up day one way. So
Blizzard cancels the game though. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't ready.
Yeah,
People
Titan.
didn't want to play it.
Yeah,
Titan.
seeing some of the in
what was
progress
it?
of Titan was really good.
StarCraft Ghosts never came to be. I put all my faith in Blizzard. And it sounds terrible because sometimes
you don't want to be a fanboy for a company because then it just sounds like anything you say from there on is just going to be pandering.
Oh yeah, it's just going to be.
But Blizzard they know how to do it.
They do.
Considering how long the lifetime one of their biggest games has, World of
2004.
Warcraft has been running for too damn long. Put it out of its misery. It's great. I love it, but I think maybe that train needs to come to a halt and we need to see Warcraft 2.
At least finally they have kind of redeemed themselves from the last Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor. Legion's good.
Legion, objective. Okay, not objectively. Personally, I didn't care for all the demons and spaceships floating around. That kind of.
They basically took StarCraft and Diablo and put it. In World of
Warcraft. That was a little too weird. It was a little too meta for me.
It is kind of weird.
But now that I saw this whole Armies of Battle for Azeroth, they're going back to their roots.
I hope.
Everyone else is all like, "Ooh, well, it just means they ran out of stuff to do." But no, they're going back to their roots, man.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Versus humans. That's
PvP. Let's go.
That's OG. That's my stuff, man. But I am looking forward to that.
Yes.
Nice. All right. So I'm not a big Warcraft person myself. So I mean, I'm sorry. I'm trying my
Start
hardest.
with the classic server.
I know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get him nice and angry before he gets to enjoy what it was like afterwards.
Oh yeah. You can play this and be like, oh man, I feel bad for those people.
And people paid for this?
They did.
They paid for the. Have you heard of establishments that torture you for money? That's a thing that exists.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, that.
So obviously we can go on all day about this. Now I'd love to.
Oh,
Unfortunately, we're starting to run out of time here. So I do want to, really quick here, I want to kind of end this show with what we heard today, which these guys didn't hear yet, but now they know. Of course, the Video Game Awards, which happens every year, December the 7th. They announced the Game of the Year games today. So Jimmy, if you want to go ahead and announce those, and then we can just quickly talk about them.
A little bit surprising. PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That's one of them. Persona 5. I don't know much about the game series. I think you two do. What we got? There was PUBG. We got Mario Odyssey. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Which
Mario Odyssey.
All my eggs are in that basket right
and
now.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah,
Great game,
Tom
too.
won't shut up about that game. I've played a little bit. I've played a decent amount about it. He's beat it. He's mad that I haven't played it more, so he can talk to me about it.
He's really mad at me, though.
You haven't even opened it.
It's
it
still
is in a
packaged.
case. Like it's
I did an unboxing for it, so mine's open.
Yeah,
Gonna play
we have
it?
proof.
If you're going to play it, if your wife's like my wife, she likes to watch it for the story.
Oh, yeah.
She would not let me play that game without her present because it was such a captivating story.
I'll
Just
probably trade that in.
the first few minutes. Just have to trade that in. The first few minutes of that game were just. I had the controller down like. Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
That's what I did. That's why I did Last of Us. The first one. I was like,
Yeah, so we've got Persona 5, we've got Breath of the Wild, PUBG,
And
Mario Odyssey, and whatever.
Unfortunately, my opinion, Persona 5 hands down should win. They're not gonna.
It's not going to, no, because
PlayerUnknown,
the Westerners are terrible.
I guarantee you PlayerUnknown's gonna win.
I hope they don't. I love PUBG.
hope they don't
I
either.
agree with you, but I think they'll win.
Right, like I hope they don't win. I love PUBG to death. Might play some tonight. Who knows? But It's not done.
It's
it
not
comes
done.
out officially in December.
Doesn't work half the
It's-
time.
they've got some issues they're still dealing
That's
with.
just like Ark. Like it shouldn't count as a game since it's still in early access.
Don't get me started
That
on
game sucks.
that.
Yeah.
hate
So it's like
developers.
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds technically shouldn't count because it's not released yet.
I think really it's going to go to Odyssey or Horizon.
I hope it's one of those. I also hope it's Zelda. Like they're
Yeah, I wouldn't be sad if
I'd be okay with those. Persona 5 is the one I want,
That's the-
but
Sure.
I almost guarantee it'll be PlayerUnknown.
Yeah.
Almost
Westerners
guaranteed.
don't like RPGs of the JRPG.
Yep. So
Right. Yeah, my money's on PUBG. I'd like to see Zelda win just because I think that was such a great
Oh, yeah.
game.
Oh,
I
man,
love
that
it.
was-
Took
they
it
flipped the
beyond.
series on its
It was
head,
just
you know.
like, hey, here's Ocarina of Time. It's it's kind of open world. You can kind of go wherever you want. Here's Breath of the Wild. Here's the most big open world, bigger than Skyrim, and you're just like, I don't even know. Like everywhere you go, there's something to do.
Yeah, and they
Everywhere.
It's a big map. I can't get to the end. I mean, it's just like
they went back to the roots with that one because you can go. From what I understand, you can go straight to the last boss if you
can.
want, as long as you know where to
3
go.
hearts. Yep.
No problem.
Yep.
That's back to the original where you could go to any. You'd start the dungeons in any order
can't
as long
beat
as you knew
it
where they
now.
were.
Yeah.
You can do that now. That to me feels awesome. People were
Yeah.
complaining that it wasn't as linear. You know, you didn't have
Right.
sets of dungeons to go through, but you did have.
You
dungeons.
can do what you want.
Absolutely.
You had tons of dungeons. The world was your dungeon. you know? It
Exactly.
was great.
You can go get the shrine. You can go get the Master Sword, but you have to have what 13? Was it 13?
13
You had to have
hearts.
13 hearts.
Something like that.
But you could. There were ways to get around that. You could go find a certain statue where you could trade stamina for hearts and go get it early.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
It
ways
kinda
around
worked.
but
yeah,
still.
kind of worked. Yeah, I mean, there.
Right.
It was a game that, like Odyssey, provides you a lot of different ways to get to your goal.
I mean,
It's
you
up to
can beat one of the like shrines in pretty much any way you can think of.
Yeah,
Like,
there's tons of
it's
different ways.
insane. It's not just flip the switch and then go through the level. It's throw the time
Throw a
bomb,
like do a freaking shielding, like
use
like
your magnet. to
Sean Paul
throw
off
it.
the bomb.
Yeah, like it's insane. It's so insane.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then I try and do it. You know, I blow myself off
Oh
the
yeah,
edge and I'm dead.
you're dead. But other people can do whatever they want. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's pretty cool.
So in closing, not being biased, not who you think, but what's your pick to win? Let's go down the line. Just one word.
Game of the year, Persona 5. Oh, you
The
mean
one- what you think's gonna
the one
win,
I
yeah.
want to win,
The
or
one that you think's gonna win.
The one that
PlayerUnknown?
Okay.
I think Zelda will win.
I'm going with PlayerUnknown.
Horizon.
Wow. So
Hey,
we got-
Aloy's my girl. She's got this. She's got this in the bag.
She got this in the bag. It's well deserved. So, all right, guys. Well, I've had a lot of fun here with you. I always have fun with Tarty Chat Society. Make sure you guys check them out on YouTube. Tarty Chat Society. These guys do some great. You guys still doing the unboxings here soon, right?
We will be picking back up on unboxings.
Awesome. I always enjoy those videos too. And of course, you're getting your stuff up and going, right?
Yeah, I mean the YouTube channel's up. I'm not gonna throw it out there because it's terrible. I need to slap some paint on it, make it look nice and good like me, and then you guys will have something cool to check out. We'll be focusing on some like Let's Plays. I'm gonna be doing an anime react series because I don't watch anime. I'm not big into it, but I'm gonna watch it and react to it.
All right.
And just see how that goes.
I've got a few to suggest to you then.
Oh, a lot of people have a lot of suggestions. I don't like the names because it sounds spooky, but we'll see.
And as always, once again, you can check us out here. This actual replay will be on MPW Cable, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., Channel 9. Also, right here on the public access YouTube, you can watch the replay as well, too, the rebroadcast. And, of course, on the Chit Chat Gaming YouTube as well, too, you can check this out. Probably here tonight. I'll probably get it up and going for you guys. So, but once again, guys, it's been Kyle, Jimmy
Me,
here,
Jimmy.
here, and Mike with After Work Gaming. And as always, if you're going to game,
Do it after work. I did it.